Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be changing some of these shocks here in this 2007 Ford Focus SE and kind of going over that for you. Pretty simple process. So this is the sedan. There's also the hatchback model and the wagon model. So it's real important to make sure that you get the proper shocks for your application. This is the Focus SE sedan. So for the rears, we're going to need this style here, like that. And I got some Monroes here. Also make sure when you pick yours up that you get the included hardware that's supposed to be with it, the bushings. So these Monroes here, they're about 60 bucks a piece. You can get shocks anywhere from $30 to $200 depending on you know, how much you want to spend on quality and whatnot, performance. These are OEM spec, so they're rated at HB4, and you can spend a little more money, get HB5 or 6. You know, it just means that they're going to be a little more performance based, you know. But this is an old car. We're just trying to fix it up, make sure it runs nice. We just got new tires on it, and the old tires that were on the back had some rub marks on them. So I guess the shocks are done, and whenever we hit bumps or whatever, the car will rub. So I'm going to go ahead and change these out so that these new tires don't get tore up, and show you that. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and jack the car up on both sides, get these jack stands, get the tires off, and then we'll continue from there. You can see I got the backs jacked up here with these jack stands. Now I'd recommend don't jack the back up too much, just enough where you can get the tire off, because if for some reason you need extra help compressing the shock, you might be able to get a jack to help you. And if it's too far, you know, it'd be kind of an issue, kind of a pain. So, you know, you want something kind of like that. Get the tire up just enough where it's not hard to pick off. Also, if you got these plastic covers, be sure to be careful when you're tugging on them. Whoever did our tires for us today, you can see it's like this on all of them. They just kind of pulled too hard on them. So they're pretty easy to replace, pretty cheap, like 40 bucks for a new set, but it's still kind of annoying that they didn't mention anything when they did that. So I don't know if I'm going to say anything or not, because I understand they're just cheap plastic. But anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and get these tires off, and then we'll continue where we're leaving off. Something else I recommend, if you get yourself a breaker bar, make taking these lugs off a lot easier. Also, this is also an option, electric impact. Pretty cool little thing you can pick up if you don't want to get a compressor or air tools. Anyways, we're going to continue. I'm going to get these off and we'll get going. Okay, here we go. Here it is, all of its glory. See, it's got one bolt back there. Take that one out. There should be probably one or two up here somewhere. Mess with that here in a minute. Another little side note, I had to drop the car a little bit so the tire would touch, just to start breaking these lugs free, because the tire shop tightened them on really hard. So just a side note, you might want to break them free before you lift the car. Normally I don't have that issue with my electric gun, but they were just on there way too hard. So anyways, I'm going to figure out this bolt size and take a closer look at this, and then we'll continue. Okay, so this bolt down here is a 15 millimeter. Right there, just like that. Now something you can do is you can use one hand to hold this top here and kind of bang on the bottom side, and it'll break it free pretty easily. That's what I just did here. Now it's coming out with just one hand. So I'm going to get this out and we'll go to the next step. Okay, I got the bolt out here. You can see there's the bolt there, little washer. Now where it was bolted in, when it let go, the spring dropped. This is what I was talking about. You might need to put a jack under here, which I probably will. Jack this back up so it'll line up with the new one, so you can put the bolt in later. So now we got to get it undone from the top. Now the way you're going to have to do it from the top here is you have to go to the trunk. So that was a 15 millimeter, and you'll kind of pull this here, this inside, and there it is there. And I believe that's a 13 millimeter. Let me get my 13. Yeah, so that's a 13. So I'm going to go ahead and break this free, and then we'll continue from there. So quick little update here. I went ahead and gently put this bolt back in to make sure that this wouldn't spin when I went to loosen it. It was pretty easy. I just put my knee under this. This came right up enough. I was able to just slide that back in, tighten it a little bit just to keep it from spinning. And the nut that's over here, I broke it free with this initially, but then it will just keep spinning. So what you have to do next is you have to get a ratcheting wrench. Well, recommended a ratcheting wrench. Do that, and if you look at the top, it has some flat sides, and you'll just basically grip onto it and hold it while you use your ratcheting wrench to kind of, you know, do that thing. So I'm going to come back after I get that off, and we'll continue from there. Good thing you're watching this video. You get to learn from my mistakes. Pretty simple. Nut comes right off. It's got this little rubber housing with this in it, this little washer in it right there. I'll just put those aside so I don't lose those. Undo that bolt from the bottom, and this should just pull right out. Let's see what happens. All right, here's from underneath. You can see that this is ready to come out. So now I'm just going to take this bolt out from down here and we'll pull that out. Okay, just got it undone. It just, the bolt here, and it's coming out like that. And there it is, it's out. So we're gonna get the new one ready and start putting the new one together. Okay, here's the new one. There's the old one there. It comes with this kit here, but I guess on this car we're not gonna need this, these new bushings and stuff. As you can see, we already got them in here, and that's pretty much that. Off the old one, I did take this cap, and I used a flathead and moved this cord over here so it's not blocking this. And I'm gonna put this factory cap back on it like that. Pop it back in the car and get it going. So here we go. Quick little side note. So I wanted to use the factory parts from Ford versus these little caps they give you. And the holes are bigger, so I had to drill a slightly bigger hole to fit these new Monroes in, because I want to keep using this. I mean, this just looks better. It's got the rubber, looks like it stops noise and rattle. So just a note there, you may have to do that. It'd be kind of innovative. Here we are in the trunk. I just got the part I just drilled out a little wider back in, so it looks factory. This is the factory nut. It is too small for this one. I'm also going to go ahead and use the plate they included just over it, because that they give you a lot more length here. And here's the one that's included, like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that down and get started on the next step. Okay, I just hand tightened the top, and I'm gonna leave that for now. And come down to the bottom here. Got my jack. Got some bricks too, but the bricks weren't necessary. Went ahead and snipped this this shock tie here, some metal snippers, and let this kind of expand, and got the bolt going. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten that down and then continue from there. This is almost done here. I'm gonna just add a couple of drops of thread locker to these bolts, to the threads, while I can still see them. Just for a little safety, just helps make sure that the bolt doesn't ever wiggle out with vibration. All right, now that the bottom is loose, I added some thread locker, got this off. That won't fall now because the bottom's locked in. I'm gonna start tightening this up, and then we should be done on this side. Side note, the nut that came with the Monroes is 14 millimeter, unlike the factory Ford that was a 13 millimeter. Okay, the shock is all in. It's good up top, it's good down here. Got the car jacked back, ready to go. Jack's out of the way. Here's a little, it's a drill bit I used here when I was drilling that hole to make it a little bigger. So, should give you an idea of the size. Okay, so now it's time to lower this side of the car. On these new shocks, don't just, lower the jack really fast. You gotta be slow about it. You wanna kinda like ease it into it. You don't wanna just put all that pressure on a new shock, So I got my tire back on here. Got them pretty good with my little electric gun. I'm gonna lower it down to where it's just touching, and then I'll hand tighten them some more with my breaker bar. And then I'm just gonna make sure that the top is still tight up top, because it might, push up a little more. Shock's in there, tires back on, nice and snug. Got the cap back on. Freaking tire shop. Yeah, I did not realize how much better these are than the old ones that were on here, because I can already tell how much taller the car is sitting, and it's crazy. I'm really surprised. I didn't notice. It's been so long, I guess. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side and then set the car back on the ground and get a look at it with both sides complete. Quick little pro tip: when you're shaving these to make them a little bigger for your new ones, if you got Monroes like I did, shave it over a trash bin, because they make little metal shavings, and I don't know if anybody who's watching this has ever had a metal shaving splinter, but they are the worst thing to get stuck under your skin while you're just outside. So I learned from that a long time ago, and I always try to drill stuff like this out over a trash bin or something where they won't be in the yard. So learn from my mistakes, people. I just went ahead, got the trunk open, got that top part out like I showed you earlier. Just got the bottom bolt out. It's only a 15 millimeter. Here's the old one. All right. The only thing we need off the old one is this cap here. Try to pull that off. Okay, sorry, two-hand job. Anyways, all right. Like before, like I said, just make sure that's out of the way. Put your new cap on. Okay. Now we're ready to start putting it back in, just like before. When you're doing this by yourself, like me, I just got the top in there, and then I push this down and leverage this on here like that, just so I can go start working on the top. Because once you get the top, it's fine. This won't, fall. There it is. It's all done. Both sides. Looks good. I pushed on the trunk. I could tell it's way different. I could just see it. Car looks higher. The trunk is a lot taller now. When I push down, it doesn't move really. Big difference. So I'm pretty happy about it. Another little keynote. Remember how I had to shave those little brackets in there to use the Ford ones? So if you don't end up having to have that issue, these little plates that come in there are actually made to protect the bushings inside. But honestly, the factory way is just without them, so I wasn't too worried about using mine for the tops. But if you want, you can use them like that on both sides, because you get 4 of them. You get 2 per shock. But anyways, that's that. Hope that was helpful to some people. And all the stuff I used: 2 jack stands, jack, drill, so I could drill that part out. Electric gun wasn't really necessary, but I have it here for convenience. My breaker bar, 14 millimeter socket, 15 millimeter right here to get the big bottom bolt out, 13 millimeter ratchet wrench, and then these to hold that top while I was ratcheting. Pretty much it. Hope that's helpful. You'll have a good day. Last little update I forgot to mention earlier. So the reason these come in the kit, if you're wondering why, is some of these shocks on some of these cars have this same style head on both sides, or a different style on the top. Anyways, most of the time they're just like this on both sides. And if that's the case, sometimes you have to push these in yourself on the other side, and after you get your old bracket out, or however it is. So I recommend just lube that up with some oil or something, or some kind of grease, and then just pop these in, and then you're good. Just want to throw that in there. If you have a 07 Focus, you shouldn't have to worry about it, but just in case. Well, there you have it, friends. Like and sub and all that stuff. Let me know if you have any questions or maybe suggestions for me, or things you would do different. I'm not perfect. I'm just a guy that loves food and YouTube. See you, friends.